They want to sit. Shall we invite? बेल बजा ले ले तो बुला दें पैनलिस्ट को.
All right, we are gearing up to start the session, and all of you are aware about the topic, Diaspora Dialogue, Stories of Culture, Connection and Belongingness. Let's have our esteemed panelist on the dais. His Excellency, Mr. Mahendra Gondia, I would be requesting you, sir, to please come and join us on dais. Minister of Arts and Culture, Government of Mauritius, and give a huge round of applause for Mr. Ranveer Bhatt, the icon when it comes to culinary industry of India, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Sudha, extremely sorry. Miss Charmi Cheda, writer, designer, all the way from Bhutan. A big round of applause. Mr. Arnab Roy Chudamani, director owner from Ukraine. Miss Vanisha Dhiru, all the way from New Zealand. Let's welcome our dignitaries, our panelists, with a big round of applause, everyone. Srimati Aishwarya Hegde from Oman. Oh my God, lovely energy. Mr. Paresh Kumar Ratilal Mehta, trustee of Sri Sanatan Dharm Mandal, Kampala, Uganda. Mr. Sankar Kandasamy, Malaysia. Ms. Urmila Chakraborty, writer-translator, all the way from Italy. Hello, ma'am. We wholeheartedly welcome our vibrant panelists we have from different countries who are trendsetter in their own footing at their respective field. Ladies and gentlemen, gear up. We would be welcoming our chair and moderator very soon on dais, and we would be kickstarting the session. What an amazing support you all have given in the first session. Thank you so much. Please maintain the same energy, maybe more, in this session. As mentioned, this session will be chaired by Sri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, Honorable Minister of Culture and Tourism, who would be joining us soon, and the moderator of the session would be Srimati K. Nandini Singla, DG ICCR. You had witnessed an amazing cultural presentation yesterday evening. I hope you have liked it. It was by ICCR. If we all are ready, and in same note, may I expect for this galaxy of intellectual people and all the achievers a thundering round of applause from all of you. Come on, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for the warmth, thank you for the energy. So we were discussing about Nari Shakti in the first session, and we have ample women achiever as of now on dais, and our moderator is also an iconic achiever. We have the arrival of our chair, Sri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, Honorable Minister of Culture and Tourism, who will be chairing the session. We welcome you, sir. The session will be moderated by Srimati K. Nandini Singla, DG, ICCR. We welcome our chair and moderator on the dais.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm doing great, ma'am. So good morning, namaskar, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, honorable minister, sir. I'm Manmohan Singh, your host for plenary session. Welcome you to the 5th session of 18th Pravsi Bharatiya Divas 2025, where we would be discussing and exchanging dialogues about stories of culture, connection, and belongingness. Today, we gather to celebrate the vibrant stories of the Indian diaspora. This session promises to be a mosaic of experience showcasing how our cultural heritage binds us across continents and generations. Our esteemed session, as mentioned, will be chaired by Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, Honorable Minister of Culture and Tourism, whose vision and dedication have played a pivotal role in preserving and promoting India's rich heritage both within and beyond our borders. Ladies and gentlemen, the session will be skillfully moderated by Srimati K. Nandini Singla, Director General of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, a career diplomat and a passionate advocate for cultural diplomacy. She has been instrumental in fostering meaningful cross-cultural exchanges globally. A big round of applause once again for Honorable Minister Sir for chairing the session, Srimati K. Nandini Singla as the befitting moderator and our esteemed panelist. Ma'am, over to you to carry forward the session. Thank you.
Namaskar, good morning, a very warm welcome to the 5th plenary session. I am aware that this is the last plenary session, but I promise you all this is the most interesting one because it goes right to the heart of what Pravsi Bharatiya Divas is all about. Thank you. The theme is Diaspora Dialogues, Stories of Culture, Connection and Belongingness. It is these stories of cultural connect, the feeling of belongingness that has brought each one of you here to the PBD. And यही एक अपनापन है जो आप सबको भारत से जुड़ा रखता है, जो आप सबको भारत की ओर खींचा रखता है. It is this feeling of the heart that draws you all back to India like a magnet. So ये खून का रिश्ता, दिल का रिश्ता क्या है? Let's explore this fascinating theme with our very distinguished 9 panelists who are from all over the world. We have a distinguished minister elected 2 months ago from Mauritius. We have I will be speaking a little more in detail about them when I pose a question to them, and you will also see their CV on the screen here. But I want to begin by saying that we have a minister from Mauritius, we have a celebrity whom I think all of you know, a celebrity master chef who is also a film actor, Ranveer Brar. And we have a filmmaker. So we have a film actor, we have a filmmaker from Bhutan who is also an artist herself, Charmi Cheda. We have two dancers. One, an Odissi dancer who now lives in Oman, Aishwarya Hegde. And next to her, we have a Bharatanatyam dancer who teaches Bharatanatyam in Malaysia, Mr. Shankar Kandasamy.
Hello.
And we have a writer, a former professor from Italy who lives in Milan, Urmila Chakraborty. And ladies and gentlemen, we have three community leaders who are very hard to describe because they are leaving India's charp abroad. One of them is Vanessa Dhiru from New Zealand. We have Mr. Paresh Mehta from Uganda. And we have Arnab Roy Chiramani from Ukraine. But most importantly, we have today amidst us the Honorable Minister of Culture and Tourism of the Government of India, Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. He has flown all the way from Delhi amidst a very busy schedule to be here with us. Thank you very much, sir. Before I invite the minister to say a few words and set the tone for this panel discussion, I want to tell you all, the theme of our panel is Diaspora Dialogues. So this is not a conversation just between us on this stage. It's a conversation with all of you here. Because the stories of connection, culture, belongingness are as much about you as it is about the people on the stage. So I invite all of you to please feel free to ask a question to any of our panelists, to have a comment, share a story. But I have a request, please restrict yourself to 1 minute. Can you do that? Yes. So after every two panelists, I'll throw the floor open to all of you. Please feel free to put up your hands. We have people there. They'll bring a mic and share your story with us, your question with us. We would be delighted. With those few opening remarks, Honorable Minister Saab, may I request you to say a few words? Thank you very much. A round of applause, please.
भारत की संस्कृति के पदचिन्हों को लेकर अपने पुरुषार्थ और परिश्रम से पूरे विश्व में भारत के संस्कृति, भारत की कला, भारत की भाषाओं, भारत के भोजन और सबकी पहचान गढ़ने वाले आप सब लोगों का मैं हृदयपूर्वक स्वागत करता हूं, आप सबका अभिनंदन करता हूं। A nation's greatness lies in its ability to connect with its diaspora, Mahatma Gandhi ji. As stated by Gandhi ji, the strength of a nation is not just in its resources or geography, but in its ability to maintain meaningful relationship with its people, no matter where they are in the world. this idea resonates throughout the historical, cultural, and economic ties that bind India and its diaspora. My fellow Indians across the globe, His Excellency Minister from Mauritius, distinguished panelists, and our moderator Srimati K. Nandini Singhala, DC ICCR, Namaste to all of you. I am delighted to chair this panel which explores the Indian diaspora's extraordinary journey, one that is firmly rooted in culture, connection, and belongingness. As we gather here today, I am reminded of remarkable role highlighted by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Our community has played in shaping a global narrative of hope, peace, and progress. The world now looks to India with a renewed sense of optimism, recognizing the strength and resilience that our nation embodies. From the shores of America to the deserts of Arabia, the diaspora stands tall as a testament to our nation's resilience and enterprise. When I speak of 35 million Indians across 210 nations, I speak not just of numbers, but of the millions torchbearers of our civilizational eternal flame and the stories of determination that have transformed the global narratives about our country, India. Dear friends, in Silicon Valley, our technologies are pioneering artificial intelligence solutions. In African nations, Indian entrepreneurs are transforming local economies. In European research institutions, our scientists are breaking new ground in quantum computing and climate solutions. Indian-owned businesses in the United Kingdom alone generate over 100,000 jobs. Similar success stories emerge from across the globe, reflecting the innovative mindset and enterprisery skills of our people. India is a land of unparalleled diversity, a treasure trove of intangible heritage that resonates through its music, dance, festivals, spirituality, and the way of life. Our soft power, rooted in yoga, Ayurveda, cuisine, and art has generated global admiration. The presence of Indian cuisine, from food trucks in New York to Michelin-starred establishment in London, from our culinary heritage has undergone a remarkable transformation while maintaining its authentic roots. My heart swells with pride when I see Diwali celebrations illuminating Times Square and holy colors painting Trafalgar Square. I see more than festivals. I see India's soft power touching hearts across continents. As member of the Indian diaspora, you are not just representatives of our heritage, but also ambassadors of India's rich and diverse culture. Your connection to your roots and your efforts to preserve and celebrate Indian traditions inspire millions, both in India and abroad. I would like to extend a warm invitation to you for one of India's largest spiritual congregation, that is the Mahakumbh, set to take place from 13th of January, 3 days after, and until February 26th at Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh. As we celebrate the achievements of Indian diaspora, it is vital to acknowledge that if now spans for generations, while the first and second generations were firmly rooted in Indian values, the third and fourth generation need deliberate efforts to connect with their heritage. It is our collective responsibility to ensure they understand and appreciate the richness of their culture and cultural roots. Teach them about our festivals, our traditions, and our stories. Inspire them to visit India, to walk the streets where their ancestors lived, and to experience the land of their origin. It fills me with immense satisfaction to see how initiatives like Know India program under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji are nurturing the roots of our cultural heritage in young hearts across oceans. This is not just about preserving our past, it is about securing our future. Just as you have excelled in various fields globally, I believe you will now help bring India's rich heritage to the forefront of global consciousness. You can play a pivotal role in reshaping India's tourism landscape. Your investment in India is not just a financial contribution, it's an investment in preserving and promoting our shared cultural legacy. The Chalo India initiative launched by Honorable Prime Minister, initiated by Ministry of Tourism, encourages members of Indian diaspora to invite non-Indian friends to visit India. By inviting non-Indian friends and acquaintances to explore India's vibrant history and culture, diaspora members can play a critical role in promoting India as a premier global destination. Here I can say with full conviction that the story of our diaspora is the story of India's resurgence. In your success lies the seed of India's path to becoming a Viksit Bharat. Let us move forward to unity, guided by our timeless philosophy of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Together we shall build a future where every Indian, wherever they may be, stands tall with pride and dignity. With these words, I welcome all of you again and thank you all for becoming part of this discussion. Bharat Mata Ki.
Thank you, sir. With your remarkable words, I think you have set the right tone for today's panel discussion. My first question will be to Honorable Mahendra Gundia, Minister of Arts and Culture of Mauritius. Before I ask him anything, full disclosure, I was the Indian High Commissioner to Mauritius for 4 years before coming back as DG ICCR just a month and a half ago. So Mauritius is very close to my heart. Honorable Minister was actually the Lord Mayor of Port Louis, the capital city of Mauritius, before being elected as Member of Parliament about 2 months ago, and before being nominated as Minister of Arts and Culture by the Labour government in Mauritius. Now, India is his first foreign visit after taking over as minister. But what you may not know is that he has visited India more than 20 times already. A round of applause, please. And Mantri ji बहुत अच्छा हिंदी भी बोलते हैं, इसीलिए मंत्री जी से मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ, ये जो दिल का रिश्ता है मॉरिशस और भारत के बीच में, क्या इसका धड़कन भारतीय संस्कृति है? Because in my 4 years in Mauritius, to be honest, I rediscovered my own country there. I rediscovered my pride in Bharatiyata through the festivals that are celebrated there, the devotion, the purity with which Indian traditions are still followed in Mauritius. I will never forget the Mahashivratri celebration, which is unforgettable. Those of you who have not been to Mauritius during Mahashivratri, please go at that time. You will never forget it. I see a lot of my Mauritian friends in the audience. A special wave to all of them. So, Mantri ji, we would love to hear from you. We have a picture of Meenakshi Amman temple. Please look at the crowds. We have a picture of the carvards which thousands of Mauritians carry for almost 50 kilometers up to Ganga Talao every year, and you have Mauritians coming from Australia, France, UK to join in the festival. Mantri ji, over to you.
Hello. Yeah, good. Honorable Mr. Shekhawat, Minister of Culture and Tourism, the Director General of ICCR, हमारी बहन नंदिनी सिंगला जी, distinguished Pravasi panelists who are here from all over the world, प्रवासी और भारत की भाइयों और बहनों, हमारे डेलीगेट्स जो मॉरिशस से आया है, हमारा Let me first of all thank the government of India and the state of Odisha for the professional hosting of this event. I also wish to personally thank them for their outstanding hospitality. It was really great. तो आपने खूब कहा नंदिनी जी, हमारे दोनों देश का के वासियों में not only दिल का रिश्ता है, लेकिन खून का रिश्ता भी है, भरोसा का रिश्ता है और भाईचारे का रिश्ता है। मेरे परदादा एक गिरमितिया थे और I myself feel so much connected with India. जैसे आपने कहा 20 बार प्लस मैंने इंडिया आया हूं मेरी जिंदगी में और भी आएंगे फ्यूचर में. And you also mentioned that this is my first official visit, and fortunately it's in India. I am grateful that I have experienced, that you have experienced our rich culture in Mauritius. And many people always came, as you said yourself, to Mahashivratri festival. We not only organized the Mahashivratri festival, but many festivals which our great-grandfather brought from India 200 years ago. We celebrate also the Ram Navami, we celebrate Holi, we celebrate Durga Puja, we celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi, we celebrate Kavri, we celebrate Govindan, we celebrate also many others like Eid, and also many other celebrations we did in Mauritius. Mahashivratri, as you said, is being celebrated for 5 years, for 5 days. During 5 days celebration, and we end with the last night of Shiva, the Char Pahar Puja. We end by the Char Pahar Puja, which started at 6 in the afternoon and finished on the other day on 6 morning. This is a great tradition. This celebration is one of the most important because this is for Lord Shiva. We have our Ganga Talab in Mauritius, and our Prime Minister, when came last time to India, she brought the holy water from the Gangotri and put in the Ganga Talab. So we have, this connection is much more important for us. The Pran Pratiksha for the Ram Mandir, which was cast on the movie in Mauritius, on all the television direct cast. We participated. The government gave a half-day holiday for all the Mauritians to participate in that Pran Pratiksha, to follow that directly. And we even sent a group of Ramayana here who participated during the consecration of the Ram Mandir. I am fortunate that on Sunday I will be going there myself to visit the Ram Mandir and to take darshan of Ramji. You know the Ramayana. We are the only country, maybe, if I'm not mistaken, where there is an act of parliament for the Ramayana in Mauritius. We have our own Ramayana center in Mauritius, which is being funded. Grant is being given to the Ramayana center in Mauritius to carry on the good work. हमारे पूर्वज जब आए थे मॉरिशस पहले, तो उनके साथ वो लोग अपने रामचरित्र मानस लेके गया था और हमारा हनुमान चालीसा इसके साथ। अभी तक सब घरों में हनुमान का ध्वजा उड़ता है। ये है मॉरिशस। This is our connection with India. With India. It is to be imparted to children. The Ramayana is being imparted to our children in our Baitkas and Ramayana Mandali throughout the country in Mauritius. The Baitkas also is being used to teach Hindi and recite the Ramayana every week, maybe twice a week in Mauritius. So we are very, very connected to India with all the organization of the festival which we had during the year. And as you said, the Mahashivratri is coming next month. So हम लोग बहुत धूमधाम से मनाएंगे ये महाशिवरात्रि फेस्टिवल। Thank you. हर हर महादेव।
Listening to Mahendra ji speaking in Hindi, मुझे लगता है मैंने गलती कर दी। He speaks wonderful Hindi. मुझे लगता है नंदिनी जी और इन दोनों का हिंदी का कंपटीशन करा सकते हैं हम।
आप यकीन नहीं करेंगे, मैं साउथ इंडिया की हूँ, बैंगलोर की हूँ। मैंने हिंदी मॉरिशस में सीखी है।
Oh my God! Thank you very much.
क्योंकि मुझे नहीं पता कितने लोगों को ये जानकारी है, विश्व हिंदी सचिवालय, वर्ल्ड हिंदी सेक्रेटेरिएट भारत में नहीं है, मॉरिशस में है।
I want also to point out that I have never been to school to learn Hindi. मैंने मूवी देख के हिंदी सीख दिया।
इसीलिए अब हम फिल्म मेकर से बात करेंगे जो सबको हिंदी सिखा रहे हैं। We move now to another country which is as close to India as Mauritius is, closer geographically because they are literally next door, Bhutan. We have a very interesting lady, Charmi Cheda, who has made 3 movies in Dzongkha language, the Bhutanese language. She's also an artist. She has choreographed dance dramas for Bhutan's national days. इन्होंने जब प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी भूटान जब गए थे तो एक बहुत भव्य सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम का भी आयोजन किया था। She was born and brought up in Mumbai, but has been living in Bhutan for the last 10 years. Bhutan is her adopted country. She works very closely with the government of Bhutan, and she has been promoting the close friendship between India and Bhutan to make it even stronger. And in recognition of her invaluable service, His Majesty, the King of Bhutan, has decorated her with the Order of Merit of Bhutan. So, Charmi, what we heard about Mauritius, that culture is truly the connect between India and Mauritius. Does it hold good for Bhutan? Because Bhutan does not traditionally have an Indian diaspora like Mauritius does. So would you say that Buddhism, food, or Indian movies are that cultural connect?
A very good morning to everyone. Namaste. Kem cho? And Kuzuzampola. Hello in Dzongkha, in the Bhutanese language. So, first of all, I'm absolutely honored to be here amongst such distinguished guests and to represent Bhutan and India and the friendship. Thank you so much for asking this wonderful question. I'll just say a little bit about myself before I go into this. I went as a solo traveler to Bhutan a decade ago. And it was call of destiny that Bhutan became my home. Bhutan adopted me, and I adopted Bhutan. And one of the most fantastic things that happened to me is, I was born and brought up in Bombay, and when you're born and brought up in a city like Bombay, you have the exposure of the world. You are a bit of everything, but something what is missing is a strong sense of roots, is what I feel. When I went to Bhutan, Bhutan has a very strong, every Bhutanese has a very strong sense of roots, identity, and culture. Right from the king to commoners, everyone will wear the go and kira every single day of their life. And they do it with a lot of pride. And I started questioning that who am I and what's my identity? And my identity and my roots goes back to my native place, Kutch, Gujarat, which I was not really connected to because I've hardly been there. But the more I became Bhutanese, the more I became Indian. And the more I became Indian, the more I became Bhutanese. And it is truly like, I would say, a romantic love affair between the two cultures and the roots. And so I realized that everything about Bhutan is so connected to India. And coming to Buddhism, Guru Rinpoche, the second Buddha, took Buddhism to Bhutan in 8th century. So what we share between the two countries is this beautiful Vajrayana Buddhism, the wisdom. And now Bhutan has become a seat of this, the keeper of this knowledge, of this wisdom. More than 5,000 people from Bhutan travel every year to India, to Bodh Gaya and to other places. And so many Bhutanese study in India. Almost every Bhutanese has studied at some point in India. They speak fluent Hindi. Many write. They enjoy the food. They enjoy the Bollywood films. They've grown up on Bollywood films. They speak the language perfectly well. And yes, we are geographically connected. We share the border. But I must say something here, that there are many countries in the world that share borders, but are not friends. We have great examples of that. And then there are countries that are friends. But what makes India-Bhutan special is it is a nurtured relationship. It is a nurtured friendship from years. From the royal family of Bhutan, from their majesties to the Honorable Prime Minister to the leadership in India, everyone is working every single day in nurturing this relationship. Again, growing up in the west of India, in Bombay, I didn't know much about India and Bhutan. I just decided in 3 days to go to Bhutan in search of spirituality. And then I got to know that there is this absolutely strong bond between the two countries. Everyone is doing all it takes to strengthen these ties. but in most parts, we don't know about it. But if you go to Bhutan and you go to any Bhutanese, they know about India. There's nothing that one needs to teach the Bhutanese about India. They naturally know about it. When it comes to festivals, or when it comes to even everything in terms of news and media that's happening in India. So that is the kind of relationship and the bond that we share, which is like no other, absolutely like no other. But if you ask in India, and especially if we go to other states, and in fact, some people still ask me that, how are you doing in Burma? They forget that I'm in Bhutan. People are so confused about the country. So we go to other parts and other states of India. There are many who don't know. How many of you have been to Bhutan? Quite a few, and yet very few. So I think as much as Bhutanese know about India, even Indians need to know about Bhutan and why it is important. It is important for each person to do it because there are a number of things that we share, and it's not just religion, it's not just Buddhism, but it is a lot more than that. And I think my time is up, but I'm sure there's a lot more to share. And when we move on to the next question, I will share further. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharmi. That was charming. Now, we will open up after the next panelist a round of comments or questions from the audience, because the next panelist is equally fascinating. Before we move on, I don't know if you recognize the two Buddhist sites which were on the screen. One of them is, I think, called the Tiger's Nest in Bhutan, and the other was, I think, Bodh Gaya. Yeah? So there is the Buddhist connect in an image. Now the next panelist is fascinating. Mr. Shankar Kandasamy from Malaysia. Why do I say he's fascinating? He is a third-generation Indian, born and brought up in Malaysia, and today he teaches Bharatanatyam dance to Indians. Shankar teaches Bharatanatyam at the Temple of Fine Arts in Malaysia. He is also a lecturer at the National Arts Academy. He has choreographed over 100 Bharatanatyam arangetrams, composed many, many dance recitals in Malaysia and abroad. And like I told you, he is very much in demand in India. I think even last week he was at the Nita Ambani organization teaching dance to Indians. So, yeah, that deserves a round of applause, really. And when I asked him, what brought you so close to India, to the point where you're learning Bharatanatyam? I mean, Shankar has worked elsewhere. He is a professional, but he gave it all up for dance. He told me his parents were very connected to India. They came, I think his ancestors came as civil servants to Malaysia from India. So what I want to ask you, Shankar, is what is this reverse osmosis happening culturally? You who have been away from Mother India for generations are now the poster boy for Indian culture and Indian dance. How did this happen?
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om and Namaskaram to everybody. My greetings to the Honorable Ministers and Nandini ji. Firstly, I must say that coming to India this time, truly we are being smothered by our Mother India, our Mother India. We are coming back to our mother's house. And in this house, she's smothering us with such lovely hospitality. I must thank the Indian Cultural Center in Malaysia for giving me this chance. And we are all tied by an invisible umbilical cord. We We are still sustained by this Bharat. Bharat has not stopped to sustain us. She's continuing to sustain us. She was ruled by many foreign rulers. They stole from her, they took from her, but she gave very freely. Because in her view, this world is Bharat. It is not a territorial place. It's not a country marked by borders. That is all politics. When you talk about Samskriti, then whoever treads the path of Sat, whoever wants to go towards truth, he is a true Bharatiya Putra, Bharata Putra. So we all are Bharata Putras. And there is no Pravasi because there is nowhere we can go which is not her. I mean, the Pravasi exists in a political sense, but in a cultural and spiritual sense, we are still very much here in India. We are all in her lap, and we are sustained by her. Having said that, my grandparents had been migrated from the British East India Company. It was the northern part of Sri Lanka. The Tamilians from there were taken there. And in the 1970s, we were very lucky to get a holy Swamiji come from Rishikesh, who taught us a little bit of mantra, a little bit of yoga, in a very liberal way to enjoy the Sanskriti in a deep sense. And then we got passionate about our dance and music, which he infused. His name was Swami Shantanand Saraswati. He came from Rishikesh, and he set up the Temple of Fine Arts. Today we have 1,000 students of dance and music, both North Indian Shastriya Sangeet, Hindustani, Odissi, Kathak, and South Indian Carnatic music, Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, and so on. And we are serving the Malaysian society, not only the Indians, but the local Malays and Chinese who are of different religion and background. They love Indian culture. I teach at the National Arts Academy to Malay students of Muslim origin. I mean, their forefathers were Indian because all of Southeast Asia was the greater India. Jambudvipe, Bharata Kante, Bharata Varshe. So in that greater India of Indonesia, Southeast Asia, we are very much, our languages in Malay and Indonesian breathe a lot of Sanskrit words. So the local people are very, very much connected, though the religion may be different. And I have also conducted Arangetrams for the Malay Muslim students. Almost 12 of them have graduated. And the government of Malaysia has conferred upon me the Anugraha Adi Guru. The last month I received from the Malaysian government. We're very proud. These are the Malay and Chinese students you see on the screen. They are an extension of our Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. My great pride would be to bring them back to India to show what professional level of dancing they carry. So this is the work we do. And I totally believe that the sadhana, if it is a regular daily sadhana, then we are connected to the Sanskriti. That sadhana, today the Prime Minister mentioned, it is tradition on the one side and technology on the one side. The tradition, and this reminds me of the last verse of the Gita, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. That Krishna is the Samskriti because he takes us back through the Samskriti. And that Arjuna with the Dhanur is the technology that we have. It is the Purushartha, the hard work that we can put in. And with this too, we, as India stands for service, we are serving the world through medicine, through technology. The whole world is being served today. Sorry, I just finished in 2 lines. And the stronger we are in connecting with that Samskriti, that Vijayam, that Shri is on our part. So this whole Pravasi Divas, to throw into context of why we as cultural practitioners are very vital, because this soft power is the silent power that empowers the hard power. With that, I thank you.
Thank you, Shankar. I think you've inspired all of us, also inspired some questions and comments, hopefully. So who in the audience wants to say something? I see a few hands up there. I request someone to take the mic, please. Please stick to 1 minute, otherwise you'll hear the buzzer.
शंकर
सबसे पहले
Indian- just-
मैं भारत माता को धन्यवाद करता हूँ। भारत माता की जय हो, भारत माता की जय हो, भारत माता की जय हो। मोदी देश हमारा स्वर्ग, हमारा मोदी देश, मॉरिशस देश की जय हो। मैं सबसे पहले मैं जो हमारे जो टाइज है, मतलब कल्चरल पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक टाइज, ये हमेशा हमेशा जीवित रहेगा, अमर रहेगा। और मैं भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि भारत ऐसा देश है जो दुनिया को सिखा दिया कि नम्रता क्या होती है, सभ्यता क्या होती है। हाँ हाँ, और माता पिता का इज्जत क्या होता है। प्रश्न मेरा है कि देखो हम लोग हर 2 साल आते हैं यहाँ पर भारत दिवस के लिए, तो मैं उड़ीसा गवर्नर से दरख्वास्त करूँगा, रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि ज़्यादा लोग हमारे और सिटीजन आते हैं तो कम से कम 1 टिकट, रिटर्न टिकट मतलब फ्री कर देना। सिर्फ यही मांगते हैं आप लोगों से। और जहाँ पर हमारे सुविधाएं हैं, मतलब रहने के होटल्स के लिए हम तो करेंगे, लेकिन हमारे टिकट का ट्रैवल फ्री करना, यही मेरा क्वेश्चन है। क्या हमें ये सहयोग मिलेगा, ये मेरा प्रश्न है।
धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद. Is there anybody else? I think the Honorable Minister has identified a lady. Can we have the mic there,
Minister
please?
Kanangani. Minister Kamangani.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you all on this auspicious day of Vaikunt Ekadashi to listen and learn from you all about the intercultural transmission, as we say, soft power. Has been one of India's strengths. My own ancestors used to sing in the court with the tansen. One of the issues we are seeing in the modern world is the rapid cultural appropriation and dilution of our traditions in every sector, be it spirituality and dance and music. And although we are a very open and inclusive dharma is accessible to everyone, how do we restrict this, and how do we ensure that what we portray as our culture in foreign countries like England, the US, and Europe is connected to our roots, our Guru Parampara, and we understand that there is also a necessary element of reciprocity. We are sitting here in a very capitalistic structure, whilst there are acharyas and there are dancers in rural temples of India who are not able to feed themselves. How do we give back to the ground? Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you. We'll take one more comment and then I will sum up the comments I heard.
Yes.
You can give it.
Yes. Yes.
Please
I would
wait
like
your
to-
turn. 1
Madam,
minute, please.
Yes, Madam, please give me 1 more minute because I have something else to say. I myself, Vishnu Ved Prakasbandan, a former Minister of Labour Government from Mauritius. Madam
Namaskar.
Singla, first of all, honorable ministers on the rise, all honorary dignitaries. First of all, Mr. Singla, I have to thank you for whatever you did in Mauritius during your tenure of office. I think you need a clapping. Mauritius was known for a bilingual country. Other to that was Hindi. And when you came to Mauritius as ambassador, High Commissioner of India, you spoke so fluently in French. You touched the heart of all the Mauritian people in Mauritius, and everybody was happy, and everybody could understand your message. Mrs. Singla, now that you have got a very good post as the Director General of ICCR, I will take you back to 1970s when I was...
You take the question.
When I was just student, the ICCR helped a lot of Mauritian students at that time. And I have to thank Dr. C. Sagaram Gulam, who commented with Prime Minister of that time, Sri Indira Gandhi, to let Mauritian students to come to universities of India to get studies. Mr. Singla, one thing, I just 1 minute, please. I propose that the PBD must have an anthem of its own, so that this anthem is played everywhere when this PBD convention is held. So I propose to the EAM, Minister Jay Shankar, and I hope this will be taken care of. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The questions I heard was, one, how do we make sure that Indian culture that is represented abroad is true to India's real culture? Would any panelist like to respond to that question?
I think Shankar is the right man to respond on this.
Shankar.
I think today with the social media and the availability of so much of resources through this media, we're able to match and see how authentic we are with the mother country. That matching is very available. It's something that we can see to authenticate whether we are diluted or whether we are true to the form. I think this is one way that we are constantly in exposure to this, and so that keeps us in check and balance.
That's great. Thank you.
Now we go to the next panelist, Vanessa Dhiru. It's very hard to describe her. She has 5 leadership roles currently. She is also from Gujarat originally, like Charmi, but born and brought up in New Zealand. She is currently the Commissioner of the New Zealand National Commission of UNESCO, and she was the first person of color and the first Indian to head the New Zealand National Commission of Women. And that deserves a round of applause. And because of all the community service that she's been doing in New Zealand for the last 2 decades, the government of New Zealand has awarded the member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, MNZM, to Vanessa. Vanessa, can you share with us what your learnings are as the first Indian to head the New Zealand National Commission for Women?
Namaskar, namaste, kem cho, maja mache. To all of the distinguished guests, ministers, Nandini ji, my fellow panelists, I'd like to say in Te Reo Māori, the indigenous language of New Zealand, ina mana ina reo, ina ro rangatira mā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. My connection to India has been the inspiration of my work for many, many years. I'm holding today the cotton that my grandfather spun in Gujarat. I came to India my first time in 1988. The second time I came was when I was 25 years old. So I had a very long time being assimilated in New Zealand. You can hear my accent, very Kiwi. And his stories, his photo is up here, his stories that he shared with me were his desperation to join the Salt Satrigal March at Dundee Beach. My Gam, my village, is 20 minutes from Dundee Beach, and he shared these stories of self-reliance, of preservation, and commitment to the people of India. His key learnings or teachings to me, they were threefold. One is, you should continue not to eat beef. Yes, babuji, ame koru, kaini. His second teaching was, tamas somwar karjo. Please fast on Monday. Okay, babuji, I'll do this. His third one was, whatever land you are living in, please serve the community, because that community will serve you back. And that is why when the opportunity came to become the president of the National Council of Women, the largest women's organisation in New Zealand, founded by Kate Shepherd, she was the woman that led the campaign that was enabled New Zealand to get women the first country in the world to get the vote. So I took her job as the first woman of colour, the first Indian woman, and also the youngest woman. And these three things were intersectionally challenging for me. But it was my Bapuji's teachings that made me realise these are the things that I must make sure that my leadership reflections enable me to do the work that is required in Aotearoa, New Zealand. The second thing I wanted to share very quickly is my learning in Aotearoa, New Zealand has also come from Indian community and diaspora, but also come from the indigenous people, the Maori people of New Zealand. They are very well connected with their spiritual nature and their rituals. And it is their rituals that I have learnt and I have reflected on and thought, what are the rituals that my motherland also do? And there are many similarities, and that is something that I'm really proud to be able to understand, learn and share with other Indian diaspora in New Zealand. Kia ora.
Thank you, Vanessa. Now, our next panelist needs no introduction. He is not just a celebrity, but also one of India's best ambassadors. And he's connecting India to the world through something very fundamental: food. Good morning, Ranveer Brar. I'm sure all of you have tried at least one of his YouTube recipes, and you have liked them. But I hope you know that he is also a very well-known film actor today. I have watched Buckingham Murders, and I liked what you did in the movie. He's not just a master chef, a chef par excellence, comme on dit en français. He's also a film actor, but he's also an entrepreneur. He has started a very successful Indian restaurant in the United Arab Emirates. And he's a very busy man. He's just flown in and reached here directly from the airport. What I want to ask you, Ranveer, is how does India better leverage its world-famous cuisine? How do we use the diversity, the richness, the flavor of Indian food to connect with the world? Not just the Indian diaspora, क्योंकि Indian diaspora हमेशा Indian restaurant में जाके खाना खाते हैं, लेकिन foreigners को हम कैसे Indian खाना के साथ जुड़े, बेहतर जुड़े? Can we hear your views, Ranveer?
Sure, thank you. Honorable Ministers, Nandini, and such an esteemed panel, thank you very much. Thank you for listening. I'll speak from my experience. I mean, we are currently running 11 restaurants, signed up a 12th one last week, so 12 restaurants outside of India. And the learning and the change that I lived in the United States for 12 years. And then I came back और 12 साल से इंडिया में हूँ और आता जाता रहता हूँ, तो एक जो difference है पिछले 24 साल का, the difference in the last 24 years is truly visible, not just on how Indians view India, but how the world views India. That graph over the last 25 years is for the world to see. And today when I opened restaurants earlier, I had to hyphenate. I had to say modern Indian or some Indian or some Indian. Today, there's no hyphenation needed. We can just be unapologetically Indian, and that is the difference. Restaurants don't need to hyphenate themselves to say that we serve a certain kind of Indian food. The world is looking at India, and that's reflecting in our cuisine. The best way, and I think Honorable Minister said it very rightfully, way our restaurants work and the way our business model works is Indians will come. But if Indians feel proud, they will bring their friends with them. You know, if you... Absolutely, Bharat Mata ki jai. So, the fact what has worked for us is कि अगर आप unapologetically proud Indian हैं और वो sense of pride resonate करती है, वो India story resonate करती है जो आपके restaurant में आता है, तो वो अपने दोस्तों को लेके आएंगे. They'll bring their friends, and that is the whole idea of building a business purely based on believing in the India story, projecting the India story, and believing in that India story primarily. You know, there's a lot of times when people say, oh, but why is the food not portioned small like the French food? I was like, that is the presentation of French food. Our presentation is generosity. This is our presentation. Absolutely. You know, and I think it is just how we tell the India story. It is just how we project the India story. It is just changing the language. It is not bigger portions. It is generosity. That is our presentation. That small portion with a small garnish on top might be good, but when we call friends over, when we call people over, our presentation is generosity. And I think that pride is the actual soft power that brings more business. That pride is the actual soft power that can actually, see, business, for me, it is, again, money has always been secondary. What is the bigger purpose that I think Indian cuisine has been able to solve is that it has been able to seamlessly fit into culture over the years. पिछले 25 साल में खाने और संस्कृति को अलग-अलग देखने के बजाय दुनिया आज खाने को संस्कृति का हिस्सा seamlessly दे रही है, खास तौर पिछले 10 साल में. And I think the ability to put food and culture together and say this is India, that for me is what has worked and what has changed.
रणवीर ने जो अभी बात कही about the size of the portion of Indian food, मुझे लगता है कि वो हिंदुस्तान की साइज और हिंदुस्तानियों के दिल की साइज के कारण से बढ़ा है. अभी I was just watching an exhibition by Indian Archives. उसमें एक फोटो लगा हुआ था that people of Indian origin who has headed the nations. अभी मुझे लगता है कि इसको रणवीर को जरूर बताना चाहिए that the cuisine of Indian origin like chicken tikka is the national dish of the country like United Kingdom. So हिंदुस्तान जहाँ भी जाएंगे वहाँ जाकर के we will excel.
Absolutely. Very well said.
Okay. I think later. You want to? Urmila Chakrabarti from Italy wants to chip in. Urmila ji, we are happy to hear you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and I'm not butting in, but I'm just trying to add to what Ranveer has just said, and I'm calling him Ranveer because he's my son's age. We teach, what does a social and cultural mediator do? We tell stories of India. तुम्हारे ही रंग में रंगे रहे और तुम्हारी ही गीत सुनाते रहे. So we use Ranveer's blog. It's basically linked to food. Food is culture, but so is language. Language is the most important thing. We have taught Hindi language to thousands of students in Italy, and one of the things that we use is Ranveer's food blog, because we don't want them to talk Hindi like Maha Vishwavidyalay ke Mahadwar par tumhara intezar karenge. We want him to talk Hindi which everybody can understand. As Ranveer always says at the end, Ranveer ne bataya nahi, ye mat kehna.
So Ranveer, you are promoting Hindi too through food. I think that is amazing. That's the kind of story we want to hear.
So for my YouTube channel, which is what 10 million subscribers, 80% of my YouTube views come from outside of India.
Wow.
So that is the need to connect back to the roots, the language, just the ease that India and the comfort that Indian food brings. So जो दिल में ठंड अपनी भाषा अपने खाने से ही पड़ती है, वो चाहे digitally पढ़े या factually पढ़े.
I think the challenge with India is we have too much to offer. When you talk of cuisine, sadak sadak se, gali gali se khana badalta hai India mein. It's so hard to represent the whole of Indian cuisine to the world, just like it's hard to represent Indian culture, Indian dance, music to the world, because it's so big, so vast. अब दिल की बात हो रही थी, तो हम अभी जाते हैं युगांडा, जहाँ पे हमारे मित्र परेश मेहता जी, जो गुजरात के हैं. Again, we have 3 people on this panel from Gujarat. He's an electrical engineer from Gujarat, but has been living in Uganda for almost 20 years, 19 years. And he's been doing a lot of selfless community work, helping children get surgeries. He's opened a primary school. He's opened a homeopathy center. He is the community coordinator for over 60 Indian community organizations. And he is also a trustee of the 100-year-old Sanatan Dharma Mandal temple in Uganda. And for all of this, the government of Uganda has awarded him the Diamond Jubilee Medal by the President of Uganda. Congratulations, Paresh ji. You are an inspiration, I'm told. Our ambassador told me that he is one of the youngest such inspirations that Uganda has known. Now, I want to ask him an interesting question. I don't know how many of you know, but Indians constitute less than 1% of the population of Uganda, and they contribute more than 65% of the tax revenue of Uganda.
भारतीय जहाँ जाते हैं वहाँ केवल अपना क्राफ्ट कल्चर एंड क्यूजीन नहीं ले जाते, वो अपनी एंटरप्रेन्योरियल स्किल्स से उस देश की अर्थतंत्र को भी मजबूत करते हैं. परेश इज द एग्जांपल ऑफ दैट, एंड इंडियंस ऑफ इंडिया युगांडा हैव प्रूव्ड दिस.
You know, Indians went to Uganda with nothing. In the 70s, as many of you know, they were expelled from Uganda. And today, they run and own some of the biggest MNCs in the world. In fact, the largest convention center in Africa is in Uganda, built by an Indian origin businessman, the Speak Convention Center, which you see here. But the beauty is, at the same time, the Indian diaspora in Uganda is very connected to its Indian roots. You see this 100-year-old heritage site, the Sanatan Dharma Mandal temple, of which Paresh ji is a trustee. I want to ask Paresh ji, how can we inspire Indians all over the world to strive for success the way the Ugandans have achieved in Uganda, and at the same time remain connected to their Indian culture, to their Indian roots?
Thank you, Madam Nandini ji. It's an absolute honor to be here. Honorable Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji, Honorable Minister from Mauritius, and all distinguished panelists, all the beautiful audience. There is no chair remaining in the hall. It shows that this dialogue is very interesting for all of us. The Odisha Pradesh Basiku Hridayaru धन्यवाद, कृतज्ञता, बहुत सुंदर बैसा एंड आतिथ्य पाया. धन्यवाद. जय जगन्नाथ. Let's take a tour to the East Africa, the Uganda. Uganda is known as a pearl of Africa. पूरे अफ्रीका का वो मोती है, और वो मोती को खोजा जहाँ तक मेरा मानना है वो हमारे forefathers ने. Because early in a colonial time, there was a free migration, and some of our forefathers went there to escape the financial difficulties from here, and also there was a need for a skilled labor, so they went to build the railway during the British Indian 1880s or 1890s. From that time, as the Director General of ICCR mentioned, that today's population of Indian community in Uganda is less than 0.1%, and we contribute the total tax revenue 65% of the country. Isn't it a pride moment for the Indian diaspora globally? So, we all know that the first humans migrated from Africa, whether 100,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago. We all heard about the Idi Amin, the explosion where all the Indians and Asians left the Uganda in 1970, 72, without a single penny. And today, you have seen the biggest convention center is built by Indian origin, Dr. Surya Ruparelia, in Uganda. And he aims to be a global leader in MICE. At the same time, we maintain a strong bond with our rich heritage. You are seeing the 100 years old Sanatan Dharma Mandal. So, this also the statistics, we do import from India $1.5 billion for the last year, 2023. And this temple is a replica of the Somnath temple, the first Jyotirlinga. Is the only kind of temple outside of India in the world that is a Somnath temple. Our contribution, if I mention that there was a Goan inventor during that time who invented a gomesi, a local dress, and that is now our Uganda's traditional dress called gomesi. It's given the name by that Goan. So we believe that we are the Rishi Rishi's Santan, who sacrificed and given the bones to make the Vajra, which was the greatest weapon used by God, and we will contribute to thrive the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Paresh. Thank you. Our next panelist is very impressive, and all the Odias in the audience are going to be delighted because she was born and brought up in Oman, but is an exponent of Odissi dance. Welcome Aishwarya Hegde to our panel discussion. She is an exponent of Cultuer and Mahapatra Gharana in Oman. She heads the Deepam Arts Academy, and I'm amazed because she actually comes from my state, Karnataka, and she still speaks Kannada, even though she was born and brought up in Oman, and she teaches Odissi dance. So I want to ask her, how did this happen, Aishwarya?
Good afternoon to everybody, honorable ministers, my fellow panelists, and this wonderful audience. It's truly, truly an honor for me to be here today. I would like to thank the Indian Embassy in Oman for enabling this and giving me such a prestigious opportunity. Growing up in Oman has been an experience that feels like an extended part of India. I often believe that Bangalore is my Janam Bhumi, Muscat is my Karam Bhumi, but Bhubaneswar is my Dharam Bhumi. I studied at one of the 22 Indian schools in Oman, to give you a picture of how big the diaspora of the Indian community is in Oman. I was lucky to meet my Odissi teacher in my school. And my Odissi journey began with multiple performances throughout my childhood for the Indian community, hosted and supported by them. But as I grew up, something stirred in me to mix things up. And I felt the need to connect with my work with the local community of Oman. And as things went on, I had the opportunity to meet many artists who I saw were doing wonderful things in their field, but we didn't find a common ground to connect with each other. The people of Oman are absolutely incredible. They love the arts, and they are highly appreciative of culture and heritage. And this gave me an opportunity to meet some incredibly talented Omani artists. And what we created together with Arabic music and Odissi was not art, but was something that connected people at a level that transcended language and cultures. I always often saw videos of Indian dancers performing with backdrops of beautiful temples from India. The Khajuraho, the Konark temple, the Meenakshi temple. And I felt that it's such a beautiful way to connect the world to the root of the art form that you're displaying. But my situation and my circumstances were unique. I thought that I need to show the world the beauty of Oman to Arabic music, dressed in an Odissi costume, to authentic Odissi dancing. And that's why we put together a beautiful video which did us wonders and spoke a language that maybe otherwise would have been difficult to reach the local community.
ऐश्वर्या जी ने को इंट्रोडक्शन कराते हुए नंदिनी जी कह रही थी that she was born in Oman and still she can speak Kannada. There is an exhibition which is placed here about India-Oman relationship. I just visited that exhibition, and when I was there, I was privileged to meet a family. The ancestors of that family migrated 400 years ago. And the boy, little kid, he is 16th generation Indian in Oman, but still he can speak the mother tongue Gujarati and Hindi. I was overwhelmed, amazed. This is what the power and strength of the root of Indian culture and Indian cultural prowess. So I must congratulate Aishwarya ji. Now you can take it forward.
So just to chime in on that, I am honored to be married into that family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now we will take another 2 questions from the audience, but again, please have a pointed question and 1 minute only.
In the red coat.
The gentleman in the red coat.
Red and white.
Red and white jacket. Can someone pass the mic, please? 1 minute में please अपना comment या question प्रस्तुत करिएगा.
Jai Jagannath. On behalf of 4 crore Odias, I am here to extend my thanks for all of you to come here, be part of our family. Thank you all.
Thank you. Someone else?
No, I have a question for the Honorable Minister.
So you have left only 30 seconds with you.
30 seconds. Sir, whenever we visit any tourist spot in India, there is a difference. Being outside for 27 years, I am Indian, but my daughter is American. So we have a different pay structure to visit. Nowhere in the world we differentiate in that way. Please have some sincere thought. We should have one payment for all. Thank you.
Very good suggestion. It's noted, sir.
One more question or comment quickly.
सर मेरा एक सवाल है. अभी मैडम चक्रवर्ती ने शायद इटली से हैं, उन्होंने हिंदी को लेकर के जिस तरह से उपहासात्मक टिप्पणी की, उसका मुझे खेद है, उससे मुझे नाराजगी है। उनको इस तरह के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंच पे बैठ करके हमारी राजभाषा, राष्ट्रभाषा हिंदी को लेकर के मखौल नहीं उड़ाना चाहिए। ये मेरा उनसे रिक्वेस्ट है।
मुझे लगता है कि कुछ चीज़ों को हमको सहजता के साथ में लेना चाहिए। हिंदी भारत के भाल की बिंदी है। कोई उसका उपहास कम से कम भारत में पैदा हुआ व्यक्ति और भारत की जड़ें जिसके साथ जुड़ी हुई है ऐसा नहीं करता है। मुझे लगता है कहीं आपके समझने में और वो जो कहना चाहती थी उसमें कुछ फर्क हुआ है। अब बैठिए। या नेक्स्ट।
Okay, can we have the microphone for the lady here? I think she's been raising her hand.
Yeah.
सबसे पहले प्रवासी भारतीयों को और हमारे ऑनर में बैठे हुए सभी पैनलिस्ट को मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार। मैं मॉरिशस से हूँ और आज ये मंच जो यहाँ जुड़ा है, जिसमें मैं सबसे पहले आभार और बहुत से अपनी शुभकामनाएं के नंदिनी संगलाक जी को दूंगी, जिन्होंने 4 साल मॉरिशस में रहकर जो इतना बड़ा योगदान अपनी भारतीय संस्कृति को आगे बढ़ाने में दिया है, वो बहुत ही सराहनीय, जिसके लिए मैं सबसे बड़ी
आप सवाल पूछिएगा।
मैं सवाल ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि हम चाहेंगे कि युवाओं को कैसे अपनी संस्कृति से, जो आज अपनी संस्कृति से पिछड़ चुके हैं या मैं कहूँगी कुछ भटक गए हैं, उनको कैसे अपनी धर्म, संस्कृति, भाषा से जोड़ा जा सकता है। एंड मीडिया इज द good, very powerful medium, so we can at least give them a chance to express them.
Yeah, actually this is a question that the panelists are going to talk about for 1 minute each.
Thank you for that. Only
you.
small poesy. मेरा देश महान, जिसकी ऊंची ऊंची शान।
बहुत धन्यवाद। अब हम जाते हैं अर्नब रॉय चिरोमणि, जो ओडिशा के हैं लेकिन यूक्रेन में हैं 36 years से, if I'm not mistaken. Since 1988, he's been living in Ukraine. He is a private entrepreneur, but he has founded the India Club in Ukraine. He's also founded the Indian Cricket Association in Ukraine. But what is very impactful is that he teaches yoga and meditation in the heartfulness way to Ukrainian school children. And he tells me how much it is helping the people of Ukraine cope with the anxiety of the ongoing war in Ukraine. So Arnab ji, can we hear you?
So Arnab lives in Kyiv and he has, you know, the situation in Ukraine and especially in the Kyiv. So he has come all the way from Kyiv in this difficult situation. I think we must give a round of applause for him. Arnab, please.
मोर प्रिय भारतीय भाई भौणी माने, विभिन्न देशरू हजार हजार किलोमीटर दूर आसी प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस रे आपण मान जोग देथिबारु मोर आंतरिक कृतज्ञता। I belong to Odisha. For last 36 years I have been staying in Kiev, Ukraine, and this has been my wonderful privilege to learn yoga and especially meditation, not in India, but in Ukraine, which was born in India. So this is a great honor for me to share with you, to care the mankind with a great knowledge and practical possibility, which we all, everybody, can do for ourselves and can influence, and we can deliver to others who do not know about that. And eventually, in this Janata Padya, in this place, in 2007, when Ramdev ji was here, giving the technique of pranayama, I learned here from Odisha, which brought me back to the human life, how to lead a proper human life, not the materialistic one, to bring balance between the spiritual and materialistic life. You all know that for materialistic existence, we need to earn something. But if we add with our heart-based meditation, or we have to think everything through the heart so that we can reach everybody with all the human qualities like kindness, fellow feeling, service to the mankind. And with that goodwill, we can win the hearts of everybody. And if we serve the mankind, the God will be always with us to provide us the minimum necessity, the minimum requirement of our life. That is what I am trying to serve the God by serving the mankind in Ukraine. Even if in this difficult time, the critical, crucial years, I have never left that country with my family, where my wife is from Ukraine, with whom I am there for last 35 years. And my wife, Ukrainian wife, she brought me back to meditation when I was living that after 2 years of practice, some 15 years back, in the heartfulness meditation way. Because ego, that always disturbs us. If we do not follow the ego, the mind, which is always disturbing us, taking us to the wrong path, if we just concentrate and focus on our heart, everything is in the right place. I have been working with many children during this difficult time in the bunkers, whenever there is a necessity, to teach how pranayama, the breathing exercise of yoga, can bring comfort, can bring humanity, and remove all anxiety, panic, all distress. And it has been wonderfully experienced by the children of Ukraine, by the teachers, and this has helped us to create a wonderful platform. And the government of India, the Prime Minister's office has been so much helpful to promote this, and I request all of us in this pious, this opportunity where we should not only work today or talk today and again after 2 years come back, let us form a working committee where the government of India and government of other countries, I have already in contact with Ukrainian government, and now we are going to form a committee where we all, from the audience, whoever is ready to join, please join through the portal of Indian government's Pravsi Bharatiya platform, where we can make these things happen from today itself, and let us take a place that we can serve the mankind by bringing peace, tranquility, fellow feeling, and humanity between among ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a wonderful message. Thank you, Arnab. Now we move to our last panelist and very distinguished panelist, Urmila Chakrabarti ji, who was born in India but has been living in Italy for the last 30 years. She's been a professor, and now she runs an entity called English Hour, which helps people integrate culturally and linguistically. More interestingly, she has been using Patachitra to introduce Indian culture to school children in Milan. Urmila ji, can we hear something about that?
Namaskar. Right at the beginning, I would like to thank the Indian government, my Consul General in Milan, and ICCR for giving me this opportunity to come here. दिल तेज धड़कता है जब विदेशों में मुझे बुलाते हैं, लेकिन दिल ऐसा धड़कता है कि कुछ सुनाई नहीं देता और कुछ समझ नहीं आता जब भारत में हमें बुलाते हैं। मुझे बहुत खेद है कि मैंने जो कहा वो शायद गलतफहमी हो गई। I have taught Hindi to thousands of students in Europe. I have brought thousands of students to India, and we have translated Indian authors into Italian language and presented them all over Europe. अगर ये हिंदी भाषा का अपमान है, तो ये अपमान मैं जिंदगी भर करूंगी। When I went to Italy, I went in the late 80s. It was a different India, and it was a different world. In Italian, we say that it's always easy to talk to San Francisco, who is a saint, but it's always difficult to talk to the wolves. What does it mean? It means that when we talk among like-minded people, it's easy to communicate. But when you talk to people who don't know the subject, it's hard to communicate. There are people in Italy who love India, who know India, they're experts of India, art, culture, music, and literature. But we don't have to change the perspective of India amongst those who already know our country. We can enhance it, but we have to try to take it where they don't know it. In Italy, even today, people ask us, I'll translate it for you, I don't know if there are any Italians here. Our diaspora is very small, so we struggle to establish our Indian culture. People ask us, so what language do you speak, Urmila? It's Indian, right? That's the role of every Indian, to be a correct ambassador and say that we don't speak Indian. There's no such language as Indian. We've got myriad languages and we speak them. We are proud of each language that we speak. I'm in Orissa. As Aishwarya said, my Janam Bhumi is here. My Karam Bhumi is in Italy. I love both these countries, and I take inspiration from Raiman Panikkar, the greatest thinker of these times, who has translated the Vedas into European languages. Padre Panikkar's research was the hidden Christ of Hinduism. And when people asked him, are you Eastern or Western? He said, I'm completely Eastern and I'm completely Western. I feel myself a global citizen with an Indian heart. So I try to take India to other people to get them to know it. Orissa is my Prerana Bhumi. It is where I got inspiration. I came from a 10-hour flight, and the first place that I went to was Raghurajpur. My liaison officer tried to tell me, Urmila, you need rest. I said, no, Raghurajpur is like a pilgrimage. So we take Patachitra all over Europe. We have done programs all over Europe. Through Patachitra, we introduce Indian culture and love for India to little children, because mindset change must start from children, and we take it from children to university, to organizations, and to the corporate world. Thank you, audience, and thank you, co-panelists.
Thank you, Urmila ji. We only have about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to ask each panelist, in 45 seconds, give me one suggestion. What can we do to connect younger generations better with Indian culture and with India? Shankar, can we start with you?
Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah. I think it always starts in the present. If you're talking about the future, if we practice our culture to the core as a sadhana, then automatically the younger generation would pick it up. But if we are not practitioners of what we preach, it's not going to work. Yata Raja Tata Praja. How the father of the family is, that is how the children will be. That is how the future generations will be. If we are very strong in that practice, then we are ambassadors of the future.
Thank you. So the responsibility lies with each one of us. Aishwarya.
I think to market a product, right, we need to first understand our audience. And here our audience are kids. Kids don't want to learn a philosophy which takes a lifetime to understand. Kids engage very deeply with stories, and the Indian arts are packed with great, engaging, beautiful stories. So introducing heritage and culture to children and dance through stories is a wonderful first step. Secondly, I believe that innovation and evolution are inevitable if we want to connect with the future generations. Having said that, we carry a strong responsibility of authenticity and heritage. We are the one nation that were able to launch a spacecraft on the south pole of the moon, but we might be the only nation who checked the Muhurat before doing that. This duality is our strength. And we need to carry this message to our younger generation too.
Beautiful. Well said. Thank you. Arnab.
For connection and belongingness, the topic which you have, there are wonderful instruments which are ready with us, like meditation, the value education in the Heartfulness Education Trust, which has been experimentally verified. We can take it to different countries, like in Ukraine, we are already doing that. In that, the government of India, the ICCR, can be a wonderful, practical, boost for us, where we can join that and make the availability of those material for the common people, the children of Ukraine and other countries, where it will be practically experienced, and some tele-bridges can be made between those countries, which we have already practically done in Ukraine and Indian schools. That will be a wonderful kind of practical experience, where the children will be completely experiencing and adopt that for a better life. Thank you.
Thank you. ICCR has duly noted your suggestion. Sharmi,
Thank you.
can we hear from you?
So we have a strong presence of Nehru Wanchuk Cultural Center in Bhutan, and that promotes yoga, Indian music, dance, and a lot of Bhutanese kids are coming and learning these art forms. So as you already mentioned, that we don't have a very big Indian diaspora, and a lot of work we do is for the Bhutanese and the Bhutanese kids. For me personally, I work with a number of youth and Bhutanese people across Bhutan. And here I would like to say that in terms of promoting the Indianness would be something intangible for me. That is my integrity, loyalty, discipline that comes from my roots. And when I'm being there, present in that moment and working with all the Bhutanese, I think what they are taking from there and the stories I'm sharing is of India, is of my roots. So it's tangible and intangible both in many ways.
Thank you. Thank you very much. His Excellency Mahendra Gundiaji from Mauritius.
Thank you. Nandini, you will notice that among our 300 delegates present here in Odisha, we do have many young people who are here now, and this will increase in the future. But as you know, we are being privileged for Mauritian citizens to benefit the OCI certificate for the Indian origin people for up to the 7th generation. And we are thankful to the government of India. Thank you. But I will humbly request that if the formalities could be simplified and that the time frame could be reduced, this also will be a great opportunity for our young Mauritian and other people to get the OCI certificate and to be here among us for the next PBD session. Thank you.
मुझे लगता है कि परिवार पहली पाठशाला होती है, फैमिली इज़ द फर्स्ट स्कूल, और वहाँ से कल्चरल रूट्स हमको जो है पकड़नी पड़ेगी। अभी जो ऐश्वर्या जी के परिवार के बारे में मैं बात कर रहा था, 16 जनरेशन होने के बाद में भी उनके घर में जो है अभी गुजराती बोल रहे हैं, द कल्चरल ट्रेडिशंस एंड लेगेसी इज़ कैरीड फॉरवर्ड। तो परिवार अगर इस तरह से हम लोग अगर रिस्पॉन्सिबली अपने कल्चरल रूट से जुड़े रहेंगे, ऑटोमेटिकली द कल्चर विल प्रॉस्परस एंड इट विल ट्रांसेंड।
बहुत अच्छा कहा सर आपने। उर्मिला जी, कैन वी हियर फ्रॉम यू?
I think we've said it all, whatever needs to be done. But I would again say, take it from the family. We have to be coherent, give the right message to our children and grandchildren. For example, in schools, when they do projects on science, space, people talk about NASA. In my family, I talk about ISRO. My grandchild talks about ISRO, and he won the prize for being an ambassador of India and also for being an ambassador of science. He's 7 years old. So we have to keep the culture going. There's only one thing I would request, as ICCR is here present, We need a cultural center in Italy because we need to build bridges. We want to tap all those Italians who are there and love India and expand the India galaxy. Thank you.
But Urmila ji, taking it forward, I would like to suggest you that not only ISRO, we must talk about Aryabhatta and Brahmagupta also in our families.
Thank you. Ranveer ji.
You know, I feel knowledge is taught and values are caught. है ना? तो क्या है, हम लोग इंडिया पढ़ाते बहुत हैं, इंडिया बनना भूल जाते हैं. You know, we teach India and then the kids don't like to be taught. If the fact that if we genuinely believe in India and if we have that pride in India and the kids and the youth sees it, they'll catch it. We have to stop teaching India, you know, and also I think we need to be where they are as they deem fit, not as we deem fit. You know, I think.
Beautifully put. Thank you, Ranveer ji. Vanessa.
I believe we need young people to understand that cultural identity is a journey, it's not a destination. I didn't learn about my Indian culture and values till very late. And in order to do that today, now, we need young people to have digital skills, digital access, and the motivation and trust to create social media content that they can share with their friends, with their communities, and with their country. If we have digital language initiatives and these types of activities, we will really gain momentum around spreading the values of Indian diaspora of our motherland.
Paresh ji. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you. As I always mention myself, that I am a proudly Ugandan with strong Indian roots. So my advice to the youth that today you have more opportunities to explore globally, but need to be open-minded and adaptable to the cultures of your chosen Karma Bhumi.
Thank you. May I now request the Honorable Minister to say a few words?
सब दर्शकों, सब साथ में बैठे हुए सारे ऑडियंस से इस बात के लिए क्षमा मांगते हुए क्योंकि समय की सीमितता है, महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी आ गई हैं. मैं आप लोगों के प्रश्नों के जवाब देने के लिए कार्यक्रम समाप्त होने के बाद में भी यहीं रहूँगा, कुछ देर हम बैठ के चर्चा करेंगे. लेकिन बिफोर आई वी कंक्लूड, जब मैंने शुरू किया था तब मैंने जो गलती की थी दैट आई हैव स्टार्टेड स्पीकिंग इन इंग्लिश. मुझे लगता है कि अब हिज एक्सेलेंसी मिनिस्टर को सुनने के बाद में मुझे हिंदी में बोलना चाहिए था. मैं आप सबका धन्यवाद करता हूँ, पैनलिस्ट का भी और सामने बैठे हुए सभी लोगों का, और जो आपकी ऊष्मा, जो आपकी ऊर्जा, जो अपने आप को बताने की आप लोगों की जो भाव था उसको मैं सलाम करता हूँ. आई सैल्यूट दैट. आप सब लोगों ने जिस ऊर्जा के साथ में इस पैनल डिस्कशन में हिस्सा लिया और सारे पैनलिस्ट ने अपने अनुभव के आधार पर पिछले इतने वर्षों में दुनिया के अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में, अलग अलग देशों में रह करके भारतीयता की सुगंध को दुनिया के दूसरे देशों में जिस तरह से प्रकीर्तित करने का, उसको फैलाने का काम आप लोगों ने जिस तरह से किया है और आज भी आपके मन में वो भारतीयत्व जिंदा है, उसके लिए मैं सभी पैनलिस्ट का अभिनंदन करना चाहता हूँ. मित्रों, मैं समाप्त करूँ उससे पहले एक छोटा सा विषय आप सबके सामने रखना चाहता हूँ, जो विच आई मेंशन्ड ड्यूरिंग माय ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स अबाउट महाकुंभ. मुझे नहीं पता कि आप में से कितने लोगों को महाकुंभ की स्टोरी पता है. जब समुद्र मंथन हुआ उसके बाद में जो अमृत निकला, अमृत की जो 4 बूंदें धन्वंतरी के हाथ से उस कलश में से निकल करके 4 स्थान पर गिरी, प्रयागराज में, उज्जैन में, नासिक में और हरिद्वार में. उन 4 स्थानों पर हर 6 वर्ष बाद में कुंभ होता है, 12 साल बाद में पूर्ण कुंभ होता है. पिछला पूर्ण कुंभ जब हुआ था, अभी क्योंकि कुंभ शुरू होने वाला है इसलिए इट्स रेलेवेंट, पिछला पूर्ण कुंभ जब इलाहाबाद में प्रयागराज में हुआ था 12 साल पहले, तब उसमें 20 करोड़ लोग आए थे. और अभी जो कुंभ 2-3 दिन बाद शुरू होने वाला है, उस कुंभ में 45 दिन में 45 डेज में 45 करोड़ लोग जो हैं, इट इज एस्टिमेटेड दैट दे आर गोइंग टू कम. और शायद दुनिया का कोई देश इतना बड़ा एकत्रीकरण, क्योंकि उनके पास में इतनी आबादी नहीं है, भारत की 1/3 आबादी वहां पहुंचेगी, दुनिया भर से लगभग 20 लाख लोग वहां आएंगे और उन 45 करोड़ लोगों के लिए जो अलग अलग तरह की व्यवस्थाएं की गई है, जस्ट विश टू मेंशन वन थिंग, दैट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश, वी हैव कंस्ट्रक्टेड 150,000 टॉयलेट्स देयर, and 150,000 toilets, to maintain them, we have appointed 450,000 sanitation workers. और पिछला कुंभ जब हुआ था, to honor the services what they have rendered, जो उन्होंने सेवा वहां पे की है, उसको ऑनर करने के लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उनको कुर्सी पे बिठा करके जमीन पर बैठ करके उनके पांव धोए थे। 4,50,000 लोगों के लिए वहां एक हाउसिंग सोसाइटी बनाएगी। जब ये प्रधानमंत्री जी को ब्रीफ करने के लिए गए और उनको कहा कि ये सब व्यवस्था हो गई है, तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये जो सफाई कर्मी आते हैं, इनमें से महिलाएं कितनी होती है? It was told that 50-60% तक उसमें महिलाएं होती है। Then he questioned that उसमें से उनकी उम्र कितनी होती है? Then he was apprised that it is somewhere around less than 40 years जो भी होते हैं। Then he questioned कि उनके बच्चे 2 महीने तक क्या करें? And government have established a school कि उनकी पढ़ाई खराब नहीं हो, और उस स्कूल में thousands of children are studying for 2 months. So this is how India meticulously plans for the events. कुंभ केवल एक धार्मिक या आध्यात्मिक संगम नहीं, कुंभ जो है भारत के विराट रूप का दर्शन। जब गीता के 700 श्लोक भगवान श्री कृष्ण ने अर्जुन के मन में जो संकोच था, जो ऊहापोह की स्थिति थी, उसको ठीक करने के लिए भगवान ने 700 श्लोक बोले। अर्जुन और कृष्ण का संवाद हुआ, अर्जुन ने अपनी तरफ से श्लोक कहे, अपनी तरफ से बात कही, लेकिन उसके बाद में भी जो संशय था वो मिटा नहीं। तब भगवान ने विराट रूप का दर्शन दिया, और उस विराट रूप के एक निमिष मात्र के दर्शन में, जस्ट फॉर ए सेकेंड, उसको देखते ही अर्जुन के मन का सारा संशय दूर हो गया। हिंदुस्तान की संस्कृति और उसकी सांस्कृतिक शक्ति का अगर किसी को अनुभव करना है, मैं आप सबसे आग्रह करूंगा, कुंभ भारत के विराट रूप का दर्शन है। जरूर कुंभ का दर्शन अगर आप कर सकते हैं तो जरूर आइए। विल फैसिलिटेट, we'll host you there and we'll be happy to host you there. आप सबको बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं। आपका ये प्रवास निश्चित रूप से आपके जीवन में यादगार बने, और आने वाले समय में यहाँ से हम टेक अवे के रूप में ये लेकर के जाएं कि हम अपनी आने वाली जनरेशन्स को भारत की इस महान परंपराओं के साथ में जोड़े रखेंगे। हम जुड़ेंगे तो हमारी जनरेशन जुड़ेगी। आप सबका बहुत सारा धन्यवाद, बहुत सारा अभिनंदन। नंदिनी जी का बहुत सारा अभिनंदन, उन्होंने इतने बेहतर तरीके से इसे मॉडरेट किया। आप सब लोग बहुत सारे प्रश्न करना चाहते थे, लेकिन समय की सीमितता है, उसकी मजबूरी को आप सब समझते हुए मैं आप सब से क्षमा प्रार्थना करता हूं। मैं कुछ देर आप लोगों के बीच में हूं, यदि कुछ बात आपका सजेशन है या हमारे ICCR टीम के लोग यहाँ रहेंगे, यू जस्ट पोस्ट ए सजेशन, योर रिकमेंडेशन, योर क्वेश्चन इन राइटिंग with your email or contact detail. We'll get back to you. Thank you very much. आप सबका अभिनंदन। भारत माता की
बहुत धन्यवाद। Thank you.
When Alexander invaded India, Chanakya went to all the states. States were divided in India within Indian culture, and they were not ready to fight together. So Chanakya told them only one thing, that when you lose your state, you don't lose your state only, you lose your culture, you lose your education system, you lose your medication system. Now, this state is called Odisha. How many of us who are coming from abroad call it Odisha? We call it Odisha. Then our gentleman panelist here, Arnab Roy Churamani. How many of us should call him Roy Churamani? I know foreigners cannot call this name because Roy is not there. Churamani.
Thank
The
you.
other
Thank
question,
you very
last question.
much. We will continue the
Ganges,
conversation.
Karma.
Thank you.
We are still slave to all these words. We should change.
Jai Shri Jagannath. My question is very valid one. We are in the artificial intelligence age. All of us, we are talking of culture originality with the original language. Why India in the forefront of IT? Why we cannot provide hearing aids which can translate for everybody?
So somebody is talking in Odia, he can listen in Odia, he can translate to English, others can hear. So everywhere it is getting done.
I request
think this is the
dignitaries
question.
to please come forward and pose for a group photograph.
Please.
We are thankful to our Honorable Minister, sir.
This is the question, please. Yeah.
Honorable Minister,
Yeah.
sir, thank you so much for chairing the session. And we are indebted to our befitting moderator, Srimati K. Nandini Singla, DG ICCR. And thank you to all our esteemed panelists for this enlightening session. Thank you for your valuable addition. Your stories inspire us to continue bridging cultures and strengthening connections worldwide. Thank you for reminding us of the power of belonging and the impact of shared heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's carry forward this conversation and strive to uphold the values that unite us as one global family. Jai Hind!